Hi, my name is Melissa with A Creative Journey with Melissa, and today I'm going to show you how to take a plain white frame, this is actually an IKEA frame, and you are going to make it into a worn wood or like a shabby chic type of frame. I created this for someone and I can't tell you who because they haven't gotten it yet. Anyway, I will, and I should have taken pictures of what I did. That would have made sense, but I did not. So I will have that person take pictures so I can show that to you later, and I'll add it to the blog post later. At any rate, this is really simple, super fast, super easy, and very user friendly. So I don't want you to feel intimidated. It is super, super, super easy. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't because of the fact that I like to do quick, fun, awesome projects that are user-friendly but also make it look like it took forever to do, because that's how we like to roll. So this is basically the frame that we've created. Okay, it looks like it's worn wood, alright, but in reality this is the frame. That's it, just a white frame, and it's kind of like a plasticky type frame. It's not a real fancy one, and I don't remember how much they sell them for, but they're not very expensive. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to need your white frame. I have Espresso Adirondack ink, which is alcohol ink, and this is by Tim Holtz. I'll give you a little close-up shot there. Okay, I have some makeup pads here that I like to use, and I have some sandpaper. This is 60, but it really doesn't matter. It depends on actually whether you want it super, super rough or super, super light. I haven't used anything fancy to make the other one that you saw. I used this little flower thing here, and it's a very fine grit, so you could really use any type of sandpaper. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to carefully take out the back. You do not want to leave any glass or any back in there, because if you do, you may get alcohol ink on it. Alcohol ink does stain, and you also have to be careful of your fingers here, because see that? That would be what I did. I sliced my finger on this cute little sharp thing here. So let's hope I don't do that again. So you're just basically going to take all the insides out of the frame. This happens to be a plastic one, so we're going to just put it all aside. But even if it was glass, regardless, you want to make sure you take out the inside because you don't want to stain it. Alcohol ink does stain non-porous surfaces like glass, metal, etc. So you want to make sure that you don't put it on there, otherwise it will stain. You can, if you do by chance stain it, you can use alcohol to get off the alcohol ink. But I would suggest you just take it out and keep yourself safe there. I do not cover my work surface. I would suggest you do. This is a laminated top, and I can use alcohol to clean it off, so that's what I do. And that way it's less muss and fuss of me trying to get everything to stay in place when I'm using a mat. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little piece of this. I'm going to fold it up a little bit, and I'm just going to sand. Not super fast, not super hard, just a little bit of sanding to get a little bit of a texture going here. This does have a little bit of a slick surface on this type of a frame, so I'm trying to get a little bit of a grit showing there, so you'll get more of a shabby chic type look. Okay, and this, I do all the edges. I do not do the back because it sounds kind of funny, but I like people to know that I made it because it is a gift of love. So I typically don't sand the back. Sometimes I will, depending on who the gift's for. I did actually in the last case, because the person I gave it to, not only do I respect and love very, very much, she's also very creative, and I didn't want to make it a half-finished project completely. So some of it's done, but not all of it. Anyway. So, I don't know if you can see here, but maybe you can see a little bit of the edge, so you can see how it's kind of got a little bit of a grit look to it now. It's got a little bit of a scuff mark on there. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so that's basically what I did. Now, you can choose to do this or not. What I did was I took a little bit of paper towel and I sprayed a little bit of a water, just damp, and just wiped off the excess of the sandpaper residue from what I sanded. You don't have to do that, but I would suggest that you do, just so that you don't get little grit in there. But truthfully, I like the grit look, so sometimes you get a little bit of extra texture with that too. It's almost like having a little bit of sand in your paint. So the next thing I do, I'm going to wipe this off real quick too. The next thing I do here is I take the little makeup pad and the ink, and I just put a few drops on here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to fold it, and I'm just going to rub it all along here. That's it. That's pretty much all we're doing. It's not that hard, like I said, and it gives a great worn wood look. Try to get all the edges. Okay, and now let me add a little bit more. Do this side here. Now, that is done with the 60 sandpaper. It may be a little bit more of a grit than I used on the previous one, but I actually quite like it. It's really neat how it came out, I think. And super, super easy to do. So, that is the first layer. Now, you can do it another layer if you'd like. I'm going to do the back as well. And because these little makeup pads are cotton, sometimes it sticks to the little pokey things like that right there. And that's okay. So I'm going to scoot that around. Be kind of neat to even use this backwards, because I like the way this little staple look is almost like framing the picture itself, whatever you put in there, but it's meant to do it the other way. But you could, if you put the clean part inside or the clear part inside. Always looking for different ways to do stuff. I like thinking outside of the box. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few drops here. Now it really depends on how much color you want. Okay, I'm going to change my pad because it's a little bit full. I'm going to grab another one. And just smear the color around. And as you can see, it got a little bit darker. And I really like the darker look. You want to make sure you get in the corners here. Okay, and really highlights that, the scratching from the sandpaper. And then we'll do the back real quick. Now again, if you liked it before I added the second set of ink, you're welcome to keep it that way. But I wanted it just a little bit darker. Okay. I'm just pushing in circles to add a little bit of color. And that's it. So now this is a little bit more scuffed up than the one I did before. I'm going to show you that comparison right now. Put all this stuff away so you can see it. Okay. I used a lot more sandpaper, and I did it a lot a lot harder on this one than I did on this one. This one I just gently did it lightly, and we just put a little bit of ink on it, and that was the first set. The second one I did a little bit harder so you can see the difference, and I also added 2 sets of color. Okay, now all you need to do is make sure you let it dry. Alcohol ink by design does dissipate as far as the alcohol part of it, leaving only the ink. But I would still let it dry for at least 2 hours to make sure. And do you see all my fingernails here and all that stuff? You can just take alcohol ink and wipe it right off. I'm going to show you that right now so you know. This is actually Copic marker solution, which is alcohol ink markers. And I'm going to take a little bit here. See, there it is. You can see the Copic stuff. And all you do is just put a little on. Wipes right off. So you could use regular alcohol. It'll wipe it right off too. But if you want to clean your fingers, that's what you'd use. Okay? See all that? Comes right off. So no worries. But you want to make sure that you're not using anything on here that you're worried that will damage or can't have alcohol on it, because that would be a problem, because you want to make sure that you take care of your surface, of course. So anyway, well, I really hope that you enjoyed this project. This would be great for some holiday pictures that you have, that hopefully you have either taken or are going to take during the holiday season. And I really hope that you have a fantastic holiday, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.